Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from ForexNoobs.com with the daily analysis. Today is Thursday, the 4th of March 2021. Time is 10 a.m. here in the UK. You're looking at a CADCHF daily chart. So let's take a look at the setups I've been sharing throughout the week, what's happening with them, because there's a lot of things happening. Well, why am I flicking through without talking? I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just talk about them. First things first, CADCHF. This one's starting to take off. Honestly, this one's, I'm not too crazy about it. Not too crazy about it. It's kind of okay. But it's a bit of a risky one, really. That being said, you could theoretically enter long if it closes above this green line today. Following the rules of breakout strategies, which I'm not going to go into all the rules right now because this is going to be a publicly posted webinar. And with the publicly posted webinars, I forgot to start this drawing software. With the publicly posted webinars, I don't like to talk about breakouts because they're for members only. So entry rules for breakouts could apply here if you want to enter this breakout. We can discuss it further in the forum. CADJPY, now this one's pushing quite close to breaking out. This one I like a little bit better, to be completely honest, because the trend is much stronger. So CADJPY looks quite decent. It just hasn't really pushed up far enough yet for it to be a breakout. So we just need to wait and see how this one plays out. Honestly, this one probably won't trigger until Monday. But we'll see how it goes. It's been a bit of a slow week, to be honest. We had two crazy weeks. And it's not abnormal for after having some crazy weeks that you just get a slow week. So this is definitely one of those slow weeks so far anyway. But we don't have much left in the week, so it's probably going to stay a slow week. GBPCHF. Breakout is getting closer and closer to triggering. Probably won't happen till Monday. But if all these breakouts start triggering on Monday, I would expect next week to be a pretty busy week. GBPJPY, once again, the breakout's getting closer and closer to triggering. Probably won't happen till Monday, but we're keeping a close eye on this one. USDCAD, this breakout is, I'm looking forward to it, but it's just so far away, and it's honestly starting to feel like it's just never going to happen. But regardless, I'm going to be a bit persistent with this one, and I'm going to keep a close eye on it. Because if it does push down and break below this 1.2466, I think we could get a nice run down to, 1.22, 1.23, or perhaps even lower. So let's see. CHFJPY, now this one is giving us a potential long trade from the support area. It's basically a range, so we'd be going long from the bottom here. Now I'm looking to trade this on the daily chart or the 12-hour. Now when I have a choice between the daily or the 12-hour, I tend to go towards the daily. There's a few problems with the 12-hour on this one. First of all, I want to see, first of all, okay, it bounced from, it tried to reverse on the 12-hour. Now, this is going to get confusing because, the 12-hour and daily, it's the same kind of thing, really. It's all the same price action, but just bear with me here and I'll explain why it's different. So on the 12-hour, it already had a failed bounce. On the daily, that would never have been an entry. So what the daily does, so actually on the 12-hour, it probably wouldn't have been an entry either. It probably would have been an entry on the 8-hour or the 6-hour or the 4-hour. Like the lower the time frame, the more likely you would have got into this initial bounce from the support area that failed. The further up the time frames you go, the more those kind of moves that would get you in are filtered out. So we could trade this on the 12-hour today, potentially. We could set an entry order right now. We could set the entry order at the high of the indecision candle. We could set a stop loss at the low. and a target up here. Nice 2-hour target, pretty solid looking setup for the 12-hour. But there's more of a chance that it's going to be another failed move like this one, because right now if we go up to the daily, that's filtered out. We're not seeing that setup yet, because on the daily we have to wait for this candle to close. So I'm going to wait for the daily just to filter out the potential for a, I don't know what that's about, to filter out the potential for a bad move, or I can't remember the name, a false move. That's the word I was looking for a false move. So yeah, CHFJPY looking for a daily chart long from this support area. USDCHF. Now, USDCHF looking pretty interesting. This one, we were looking at it for a potential reversal if it stalled at the support, at the resistance area. So if it stalled here, we were looking for a potential reversal. But if it broke through, we're looking for a breakout. Now, this one has officially broken through. This one has now turned into a potential breakout trade. What I want to see is basically everything that we need for a breakout setup, which again, I'm not going to go into the specific details, but we can discuss it in the members only forum. But good breakout setup here. The big problem with this is this resistance area here is potentially going to get in the way. So yeah. Right, sorry, I was just thinking about how I would trade this. Yeah, let's just leave that for now. CHFJPY we discussed. Now, USDJPY, another potential breakout. Same story here, guys. We were looking for a reversal if it stalled. It has not stalled. So now we're looking for a potential breakout. Again, I'm excited about this one. So yeah, let's see how this one plays out. These are the two pretty solid setups. USDJPY, technically speaking, has a bit more room to move up, depending on where this would eventually be entered. So yeah, let's just see how those play out. Let's see if we have any new setups. It's a shame that all this exciting stuff is happening right towards the end of the week, because whenever we start to see setups on Thursday, the question becomes, is it worth entering today or tomorrow, rather, because it won't trigger until tomorrow, or should I just wait until Monday? And most times the answer to that for me personally is that I may as well wait till Monday. David, no. I've completely started ignoring NFP. I think I go over that in the course. Lloyd, a patient trader is a profitable trader. You know, the most important skill for a trader to possess, in my opinion, is patience, and a lack of patience is something that you'll find is very common against traders who fail. David, it can do, but it doesn't usually have massive spikes. But regardless, you know what? This is a pretty complicated subject. And it's not something that I can easily cover. In a webinar. So I'm going to give you a link to an article I wrote. I would suggest you read that article to give you an idea of my approach to news. Then, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. I don't want it to seem like I'm kind of just pawning off questions to articles, because I kind of hate that. But at the same time, I could go through like a 15-minute explanation as to why I ignore news. And a lot of people here have already heard it because I've gone through it in webinars before. So it would just bore a lot of people, and essentially it's just going to take time. I'm happy to answer on a one-on-one basis though. Just I'm starting to want to keep analysis webinars as analysis webinars, and to keep the questions generally related to the actual analysis. I don't mind if you ask other questions, but just be aware that if you ask other questions, I might just link you an article and say, let's discuss it one-on-one instead of in the webinar. Are there any other questions, guys? Oh, but long story short, David, I'm just going to completely ignore the news. I don't care about it. I honestly didn't even think about NFP this week at all. But that kind of explains why it's a slow week also. I mean, after a few big weeks, you usually get a small week, but then add on the fact that we have NFP this week. NFP things usually slow down in the lead up to NFP, so it's not a big surprise that we're having a bit of a slow run this week. You go short on Euro New Zealand. I don't like it. If you want to. I don't like it. Look how quickly the previous move down failed. You always have to think about that when you're looking at a trade. You look to the left, and what happened previously? Well, it tried to reverse from this resistance area, completely failed. So how much confidence can you really have in getting in on a second move down when the first one just completely failed? Me personally, I don't have a lot of confidence in a move like that. Now, a way you could trade this theoretically would be to just set your entry at the previous failed low. So that would be roughly around about here. But then you would need to place your stop loss, or you would need to keep your stop loss where it would be anyway, and then you would have a 1R risk to reward ratio. I just don't think it's worth it, personally. Overall, I agree that it's probably heading down in line with the trend. I just don't see any opportunity for a safe entry. I just don't think it's a safe trade, essentially. This is one of the things with trading, guys. You need to... Sometimes you have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen, but it's best not to enter anyway, because you can't get a safe entry, you can't get a safe stop loss, you can't get a good risk to reward ratio. So even if you know that it's probably going to go down, if you can't get good entry stop target, then it's not worth entering the trade. And you might say, well, that's silly because you know it's going down, so just get in anyway. But you don't know it's going down. You suspect it's probably going to go down. And if you just enter anyway with a bad stop loss entry and target, in the long run, you're going to be losing money. It's just a fact. In the long run, if you enter based on, I think this is going to go down, so I'm just going to jump in without any good stop loss, without any good risk management, then you're going to lose money. So sometimes you just have to say, I know it's probably going to go down, but I see no opportunity for a good entry target stop. Therefore, I'm not going to enter the trade. Because entering the trade would not really be trading, it would be gambling. And we all know where that leads. Leads to margin calls. So yeah, I just don't see anything good here on Euro New Zealand. But thanks for bringing it up. Don't be afraid, guys, to bring up pairs that have setups on them, that you think have setups on them, because it's not uncommon for me to completely miss a potential setup. And for a member to bring it to my attention, you know, that happens semi-regularly. So don't just think because I've looked at a pair and I haven't seen anything that there's nothing there. I could totally just have missed something. And that's the great thing about having this community. There's so many times where I'll scan my charts, I'll not see something properly, or just maybe do it too fast, not spend as much time doing it as I should, but thankfully someone else posts it to the forum and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that now. Crowdsourcing my analysis. I'm excited for USDCHF and USDJPY, guys. These look quite good. I would say they're strong potential setups. They're not setups yet because we still need to wait for them to kind of complete, but they're strong potential setups. But yeah, anyway, guys. It doesn't look like there's any other questions. Let me do a really quick summary here. USDCHF looking for a breakout. USDJPY looking for a long breakout. Both long breakouts. CADCHF looking for a long breakout above this green line. CADJPY also long breakout. This one hasn't crossed past the green line yet, so this one's further away from triggering, as is EURJPY, as is GBPCHF, as is GBPJPY. So those are all long breakouts. All of these are long breakouts. Some of them have crossed the green line, others haven't. USDCAD, potential short breakout, but this is a long, long way from happening. I'm just quite excited about the potential for this one, so I'm keeping an eye on it, but it's probably not going to happen for a week or two or something, if ever. It might just turn away from here. And then CHFJPY, we're getting a nice indecision candle forming on top of the support area right now. This one would probably be triggered Friday. Yeah, probably Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Yeah, I am afraid that they're overextended. I have to be completely honest. I am afraid they're overextended, but there is another factor with these two, right? It's a good question. It's a very good question. There is another factor with these two. These are relatively new trends. USDCHF is a very, very new trend. USDJPY is a little bit older, but it's still a relatively new trend. It's just crossed the 200 moving average. When a pair crosses the 200 moving average, tends to mean that the trend has turned from bearish to bullish. So it's just crossed the 200 moving average. USDJPY, you know, on the 24th of Feb, USDCHF even more recently, just a few days back. They're making new highs beyond like 4-month or 3-month or whatever. Well, not USDJPY. Oh no, that's all the way back in August. So that is actually a pretty significant high that is broken. So if it was a trend like I don't know, say this one here, it had been moving a lot, and it was part of a major bearish trend that had been going for a long time, then yeah, I'd be way more apprehensive. But the fact that this is such a new trend, I'm leaning towards jumping into the trades. Hopefully that makes sense. Because the fact that it's a new trend just kind of adds, gives it more potential to push through despite the fact that it's overextended. Whereas an old trend that's been running forever, once it gets overextended, it tends to pull back more often. Now, also, I should say that this really isn't based on any statistics, okay? It's based on just experience and observation, but maybe if you were to look at it, actually look at the numbers and do kind of some statistical analysis on this, I could be totally wrong. Because stuff that's based on observation, just personal observation with no actual tracking of the data, etc., is pretty useless. So I'm going to trade it based on what I think, but just a fair warning there. And it is something that I have planned to actually look back on and try to figure out if newer trends are less prone to pullbacks due to overextension. I just haven't got around to it. So right now I'm going to trade as if that's the case, because I think it is, but I need to actually confirm everything. Oh, that's a good question too, David. If I could only go for one of them, I'm probably going to go for both of them and then just split my risk between the two. But if I could only go for one of them, let's just assume the entry is here. Oops, wrong tool. Yeah, I'd probably go for USDJPY, but a potential risk-reward ratio. The high here, the resistance area I've got set here, is nowhere near as strong as USDCHF's resistance area. USDCHF resistance area is a huge hurdle for it to get through. USDJPY really isn't a huge hurdle. It's a pretty minor one, really. Honestly, maybe not even worth calling this a major resistance area. Better risk to reward ratio, safer stop loss, because USDCHF stop loss, the safest would be like well below the support area, but that would make the risk to reward ratio horrible. This one, we can get it well below the support area and still have a decent, it's not great, but we'd probably enter on a retrace, have a decent risk to reward ratio. Like if the entry were down here, for example, on a bit of a pullback, already we're seeing 2R at the resistance area, and it's a weak resistance area. So yeah, I would go for USDJPY hands down if I had to pick between the two. But I'm definitely considering just splitting the risk between both. Any other questions, guys? I'm glad you found it useful, David. Right, doesn't look like there's any other questions, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys very much for attending. I'll see you for Tuesday's analysis, which is going to be at the same time of 10 a.m. UK. But obviously for all your members, I'll see you in the forum before then. And as always, for members, feel free to message me if you have any questions or need any one-on-one help or trade advice. So thank you, and see you guys later.